Hey guys, Jamie here from Chilibin Adventures, and today we're doing rooftop tent vs swag. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be looking at 5 key factors: setup time, weight, comfort, storage and cost. Number 1, setup time. First things first, let's start with the rooftop tent. Now I have on the top of my vehicle the Dometic TR120E electric rooftop tent. Let's see how we go. Next up, we have the swag tent. Now this one here is the single swag tent from ARB. Let's see how we go. All this tent setting up has made me hot. Just gonna have to take this off.
Sometimes it burns.
Righto, next up, let's see how much these bad boys weigh. So this Dometic rooftop tent weighs in at about 60 kgs. Most rooftop tents will be around the 50 to 100 kg mark, so it's a bit of weight up on the roof, and it can make the vehicle unstable on certain tracks, so that's one thing to think about. So this ARB swag weighs in at about 10.5 kgs. Most swags will range between 10 to 20 kgs, so big difference from the rooftop tent. A lot of weight savings in these things, so that means more room for beers. Number 3, let's look at comfort. Oh, didn't see there. Now the rooftop tents. This one here has a 5cm high density foam mattress. It's reasonably comfortable. It's taken us a few nights to get used to sleeping on this, especially being up high, you get a little bit rocky in the wind. But overall, reasonably comfortable. One other point to mention is if you need to go toilet in the middle of the night, you got to climb down the ladder, which makes it a little bit hard in the dark, especially if you've had a few drinks. So that's just one thing to factor in. Swag tents. Like a rooftop tent, they also have a high density foam mattress. These ones here have a 7.5 centimeter mattress. To be honest, you do notice the extra couple centimeters. It is really comfy, and this ARB tent has these removable liners that you can take off and wash as well, which is kind of cool. And to be honest, before trying out these swag tents, I thought there wouldn't be much room, but this is a single tent and I've got a lot of space to roll around, a lot of headroom. What's really handy is it has this nice little door here, and not having to climb out of a ladder means that if I want to go toilet in the middle of the night, it's really easy to just stumble out. Number 4, storage. Alright, so the rooftop tent. Once they're bolted down onto the roof, they're not really practical to take on and off, so once they're on, and that's one thing you're going to have to live with. One advantage of having it on the roof is you get all of your space in the vehicle for storage. That's one pro. With it being on the roof, there is a little bit of weight up high, and you will notice that when you're on tracks it will be a little bit rocky and rolly and a little bit less stable, so that's one thing to factor in. Also, when they're packed down, because of the extra weight that you're carrying all year round and a bit of wind resistance, you're going to have a bit more fuel consumption. Right, so the swags, they do roll up quite large, so they take up a lot of space in the boot. If you had a trailer on the roof, you could get it up out of the way, but that's one thing to factor in as well, as a con for a swag, as it does take up a lot of valuable real estate in the vehicle. One pro though is if you're wanting to change vehicles a lot, or if you're only going camping a couple of times a year, it's something really easy to throw in and out as you want it, and you're not stuck with this big heavy thing on the roof all year round. Number 5, let's look at cost. So this tent is around $2,000. For a rooftop tent, you're probably looking around $1,500 to $5,000 depending on what make and model you go for. This ARB swag is $650 or thereabouts. Swags can range between $500 to $1,000, so they're a lot cheaper than a rooftop tent. So that's another thing to factor in if you're a bit more budget friendly. Alright guys, so we've looked at the rooftop tent and we've looked at the swag. To summarise it all together, I would say if you have a vehicle that is set up full-time for camping, the rooftop tent is probably the way to go, or if you camp more than 6 times a year. If you camp less than 6 times a year and you're wanting a bit more flexibility with moving your tent from vehicle to vehicle, I would maybe consider the swag. Well guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope this has given you something extra to think about when purchasing your next tent. That's all from me. Happy camping. I'm gonna start again. It's gonna stop laughing. Alright, just go down and back up again. That's all from me guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you something extra to think about when you're making your next, that's all from me guys. I hope it's given you something extra to think about when you're making your next tent purchase. Well, that's all from me guys. I hope it's given you something extra to think about when you're going for your next... Why is it such a tongue twister?